Hello good people of internet, it's been a while since I shot my last video, but you know how it is, summer, I work all day, so yeah, today I have two very different camera phones for you. The first one is Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, and the second one is of course Samsung S24 Ultra. So let's take a look at camera specs and then we'll take a look at camera software and lastly at some photo samples. So completely different camera setup. On Huawei you have 50 megapixel main camera with 1-inch sensor, and it has a variable aperture from f1.6 to f4.0. So very big camera sensor. You can see aperture here. Of course, you have additional two cameras. The first one is telephoto. It's periscope camera, 90 millimeters, 50 megapixels, f2.1, and that's around 3.5x optical zoom. And the second one is ultra wide, also has autofocus. It's 40 megapixels and f2.2. On the other hand, Samsung has one additional lens. So the main lens is 200 megapixels, f1.7, so no variable aperture there, with 1/1.3 inches. So quite smaller sensor here on Samsung. It has two telephotos. The first one is, I'd say, a bit old model, but still good. It's 10 megapixels, f2.4, around 70 millimeters, and it's 3x optical zoom. And the second one is the newest in this generation, 50 megapixels, f3.4, 1/252 inches of size. So that used to be the size of Pixel 4 and 5 main camera, so just that you know. And it's around 5x optical zoom. And of course the least camera is 12 megapixels, f2.2 ultra wide with of course autofocus. So yeah, different approach to cameras. Now let's take a look at camera software. I have a new PC desk so I haven't found my ideal recording angle yet, but let's take a look at camera software anyway. So Huawei has, in my opinion, one of the best camera softwares out there, because it has a lot of features that you can really actually use. But let's start with the basic. You have settings on top on both of them, and a few options like filters and live photo on both of them here. Of course, on Huawei you can also switch AI options here. That's really nice. And here you have modes. Of course, there's photo mode, video mode on both of them. When we are in video mode, you have some options you can control here on Huawei and also Samsung, very similar. They both support Pro mode, and you have all the same features in Pro mode. You can shoot RAW on all lenses, so that's quite neat. Of course, the fun is in additional lenses. Under More on both of them, you have additional modes, and here you just can't beat Huawei, you never could. It has light painting mode, that in my opinion is still most desired mode to have ported on Samsung devices. It's excellent, and of course it works in all lenses. Any other phone you buy Xiaomi, you buy Magic 5 Pro, you buy whatever you buy, this only works on main lens. Here it works on all lenses. That's what Huawei has. Of course, there's aperture mode, where you can use physical aperture, so you can open and close aperture on camera real time, or virtual, where you can choose artistic bokeh in background. Of course, there's slow-mo, both of them, dual view, and you know, it's okay. On Samsung, of all the modes here, you can probably use expert RAW sometimes, but It's so bad. It doesn't even support full integration with Lightroom in those formats, so nothing too special. Let's take a look how fast they shoot their shots. Okay, first Samsung. Yeah, decent. No big lag. Not the same format it was when it came out. It's much more faster now and snappier. And now Huawei. Much faster than Samsung actually. As you can see when you zoom here, you have millimeters written on your zoom specifications. Okay. And on Samsung, you only have X. Yeah. One other thing I noticed on Huawei that I like is that when you choose to use some lens, it will use that lens. It will not crop into main lens. So when you choose 3.5, it will really be 3.5 no matter what the distance is. So good for you, Huawei, for finally accepting to give control to people. Okay, now let's take a look at few photo samples and you can tell me in comments what do you think about them. Now let's take a look at few photo samples here. I have them in all conditions and you can see that with letter S it's for Samsung and H is for Huawei, so you can see which photo I'm talking about. Let's start with a few daily samples. Where to begin? Let's begin with this photo, number 16, where you can see that Huawei uses its variable aperture and it kind of closes it a bit. So you have f2.2 here, f2.0, sorry, here, and you can see you get star effect from the light, whilst on Samsung you get round sun. Both of these are good. There's no difference here. A bit more artistic on Huawei, but let's check details a bit. Okay, so this flower definitely looks more like this in nature. It's a bit washed out on Huawei. Also the background foliage on trees, it's much more natural looking on Samsung. Anything else to notice here? Yeah, the colors are a bit washed out on Huawei, so this one goes to Samsung. Okay, so main camera on both of them, first one goes to Samsung. Another simple photo of close-up cookies. And here you can see both of them do good. Here on the left you have Samsung, on the right is Huawei. Samsung, I would say, even a bit more detailed. A bit more sharper, but not over sharpened here. But both decent photos. You will never crop in that much to look. If you look like this, it's okay for everyday usage. Now let's take a look at zoom a bit. We'll start here. So where is it? Here it is. Okay, first we have 1x shot from both of them. f1.7 on Samsung and f2.0 on Huawei. When we zoom in, you can see it's pretty similar. Noise levels are pretty much the same. Bit more contrasty on Huawei. Also a bit more punchier with the colors. But for the image quality, I would say it's pretty much the same. Let's check the heavy shadows. Heavy shadows have a bit more information on Samsung. Everything else is the same. So this one is kind of the same on both of them. Let's zoom in a bit more. So this is 2x digital zoom. So they both cropped in their big sensors. And let's take a look at details here. You can see the Samsung is a bit over sharpened and that it has some weird artifacts
in branches of 3, while Huawei has better details. The rest is kind of the same, but this one definitely goes to Huawei. It shows the advantage of having a larger sensor for cropping in, at least. Let's zoom in a bit even further. Okay, here is when they both switch to 3x zoom lenses, and you can see how much newer and more advanced lens on Huawei here right is. Much better noise control in the shadows. I mean, look at this. Much better noise control. More realistic colors. More details kept in shadows. Very nice Huawei. I love this lens. This lens is... You can see that Samsung's lens shows its age. It's still good lens, but Huawei's 3x lens is better. And now let's go a bit further. This is at 5x zoom, and here is where Samsung switches to its new lens. And here you can see that quality is somewhat better on Samsung. There's still noise, and maybe this wasn't the best focus on Huawei, but still this one has to go to Samsung. It's superior photo. Now let's check. I believe this is 30x zoom. Again, Samsung at longer range than 3, much better. Not much to say here. A weird halo coming from all the shadows on Huawei, so this one definitely also goes to Samsung. And now let's check crazy 100x zoom. At 100x, you can see something really weird happening here on Huawei. Samsung keeps it cool. Again, Huawei very weird with these green tones and whatever is happening here. Samsung wins at 100x. I have another sample of zoom photos. So here we go again. This is ultra-wide shot on both of them, and here on the right you have Samsung, and on the left you have Huawei. When we zoom in, you can see they are both bunkers with details. They're just not that good. If I have to give a win to someone, it wouldn't be one of those two phones in at least in ultra-wide. Well, okay, I have to give advantage to Samsung because you can see when we go to the left corner of photo how Huawei gets gradually worse at focus, at details. So this one goes to Samsung, but both of these ultra-wide cameras are meant to be look like this and not zoomed in. Okay. Let's take a look at number 26. Here we have again main lens. Again, Huawei opts for f2, and Samsung goes to its stock f1.7. But look at ISO values. On Huawei you have ISO 50. On Samsung you have ISO 12. That means that noise level on Samsung should be very, very low, and there actually are almost no noise on Samsung. Finally, better details in shadows. About colors, I would say they are kind of the same. Small detail, let's look here at the text. Small detail, again the same. So just for the bit better shadows, I'll give it to Samsung. And another zoom in. Oh, I get tired. Okay, here we have digital crop of 2x. Now let's check what do we have here. And here you can see that Huawei actually did worse. It again lost its focus somewhat, so Samsung here did better, especially on text. Okay, let's keep going. Number 28. Here is when we switch to 3.5 lens, or 3 lengths, whatever you like. I took a bit wrong photo with these two. I need to find something to compare. Yeah, okay, this will do. Let's take a look at 3 here and this building here. You can see again supremacy of Huawei's lens. Look at the noise control here. Details here. So much better shot than on Samsung. So 3.5x versus 3x, definitely better on Huawei. Let's check number 29. Here is where we switch to 10x lens. Of course, they both crop in, but Samsung crops in from 5x and Huawei from 3.5x. And now let's take a look at details, and here is when things take a turn, and here you can see just Samsung obliterates Huawei in details, in informations, in shadows, just much better. And now let's take a look at 30x. Again at 30x, Samsung here on the right, much better. And let's take a look at 10x. Sorry, 100x. Samsung better, but they are both trash. Okay, here I have another close-up shot from both of them. Samsung on the left, Huawei on the right, and you can see how much this thing on Huawei. Look how it controls noise. It's almost like DSLR quality. Amazing. I wish they had Google. Okay, this is with the 3x shot on both of them. I would say they're kind of the same. Maybe a bit better details on Huawei, but the colors are some kind of washed out. A dog jumping for me to release him out of his whatever this is. Samsung on the left, Huawei on the right. Let's see where they focused. Okay, Samsung focused here on the dog, and Huawei probably somewhere a bit. Yeah, they're both the same. Same focus, same everything. But when you look at the blur, you can see how natural blur is on Huawei phone. Again, the same dog. I would say this one is bad on both of them. So, trash. But what happens when the light goes down? Okay, let's go to the garage. First we have ultra wide on both of them. And when you look at this, you can see how bad noise on Samsung is. It's so bad noise. It's not healthy dose of noise. It's just a bad noise. HDR, same on both of them. Probably a bit better on Huawei. But you can see that Huawei really knows how to destroy the noise. Even though it destroys a bit details with it, but I'd rather have this than this. So this one ultra wide goes to Huawei. Let's go to 1x shot. 1x shot again. Okay on both of them. Colors are a bit more natural on Samsung, but they're more. When you zoom in, when you look at this noise on Samsung, you just get lost in how bad Samsung controls its noise. Come on, look at this. No details. Over-noised, over-sharpened. Everything is just so bad. Samsung is so bad at these things. I mean, look at this. I hope they fix this with an update. They probably won't, but I can still hope. Okay, let's go 3. This is 2x digital zoom on both of them, and here you can see just supremacy of Huawei's software and bigger sensor, and Samsung is just trash here, while Huawei is, you have perfect photo from it. Let's zoom in a bit further. This is where they switch to their 3x lenses. Again, Samsung with its noise, with poor algorithms, with just so depressing to see this. When I see this, I want to sell my phone. And let's zoom in even a bit further. Now we have Huawei's 3.5 stretched a bit versus natural 5x at Samsung. Again, noise on Samsung is horrible, but details are somewhat good. So I would say this is okay, but this is better. And I have this, but it's the same thing. There's nothing to show you there. But I will show you this. 50 megapixels for both of them. Of course, Huawei on the right. And of course, the Samsung is just awful. Look how nice this looks on Huawei's 50 megapixels. Look at the details, the color, the noise control. Samsung just looks like upscaled 12 megapixel shot. Okay, to conclude this little video, during the daylight there are trading punches. Somewhere Samsung is better, somewhere Huawei is. Ultra wide and main, pretty much the same during the day. And when we look at zoom lenses, 3.5 on Huawei is better than 3x on Samsung, but 5x on Samsung is better than 3.5 on Huawei. When we turn the lights down, then we have a situation where it's just better shot on Huawei. You just get better details, better colors, less noise, less. You have almost no problems with Huawei on low light, while Samsung really struggles. How struggles? Look at this. I showed you anyway. So yeah, Samsung really needs to do something about their low light photography, because Huawei is killing them. Of course, when you look at complete phones and everything else, for me Samsung is still better phone, but in the camera department, especially low light,